Oh, I could just buy an E90, weld the diff, and it'll be a good drift car.
Stop! It's going to take a lot more than a welded diff to make this a good drift car. E90s are becoming more affordable and more tempting drift cars, but these two E90s have taught me how fast they can become multi-$1,000 headaches if you're not careful. E90s are not as tried and tested as old Nissans, Mustangs, or even older BMW models. This is what nobody tells you about drifting E90s. So you're thinking about drifting an E90, or an E91, or an E92, maybe a 93, or even an E82. All of this information pertains to them because they all have a lot of similarities. We spent the last year building and breaking these two E90s. One is my 335 diesel build with Wisefab front and rear. And the other one is my wife's car. That's a more beginner, budget-friendly 328. Whether you ended up with the trusted, reliable N52 motor, or you wanted more power so you went with the N54 or N55, or maybe the diesel torque got you excited and you went with an N57, no matter what engine you have, maintenance is the first thing you want to consider. Do research on your specific engine to see what's recommended for maintenance. Make sure you fix any oil leaks. Think about upgrading your cooling system. And since most of these chassis don't have a factory coolant temp gauge, you might want to think about getting an aftermarket one so you can keep an eye on that. Doing this before an event will make sure that you're on track as much as possible and you're able to avoid unnecessary downtime. Gear ratios make a huge difference, so before you get that welder out, figure out which gear ratio diff is going to make the most sense for the power level of your car and the tracks that you're going to be driving. For example, my wife's N52 E90, we updated her from a 323 rear diff to a 373, and that made a world of a difference with her lower horsepower car. While you're at it, you might decide to do rear diff bushings and subframe bushings to keep your axles happy and overall your rear suspension happy. Now, it already might be known that coilovers make a world of a difference when it comes to how these cars handle. What you might not know is that they really benefit from custom spring rates. For example, my 335D, I started out with 10 and 11K springs, and I have upgraded to 16K springs all the way around, and it's made a big difference in how predictable that car is. Now, to talk specifically about the rear suspension of these cars, you want to find a way to adjust the geometry once you lower it or put it on coilovers. And you could do this with adjustable arms or a grip kit. And having this adjustability can really dial in the car's alignment and really change how the car drives. Specifically in the front end of these cars, you have a few different options if you want to put an angle kit on it. You have the option of doing a mini kit, which these are affordable, but they do have some limitations. You can improve these with M3 lower control arms that are going to increase your track width, giving you more negative camber and stronger control arms. Or you could upgrade to a mild or narrow kit, which is going to give you even more angle without having to run over fenders or cut your strut towers. Or you could go all the way and go with a comp kit or a full angle kit. It's going to get you as much angle as possible, but you are going to have to cut the strut towers in most cases. And you're definitely going to have to run over fenders to clear the extra track width that those kits give you. The truth is, these cars aren't as straightforward when it comes to a drift build, but it is very rewarding when you can finally figure it out and get a well set up car.
Very nice. Very nice.
If you want more details about our 335D drift build, check out our full playlist on that. Or if you want to see a more realistic budget build, then check out the video we did on my wife's 328i. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.